What's going on, everyone? Welcome to SofaKingSalty here for our very first video. I hope everyone's new year is going great. Here at Sofa King, we break down the most iconic, most expensive, most saltiest, most expensive Magic the Gathering cards here. We also do deck building and etc. The list goes on, right? So, in this video, we're going to start talking about the very first steps that you should be taking in building your very first commander deck. There's a massive amount of people coming into this card game, into this trading card game. I know I'm probably gonna catch a lot of hate for calling it a game, but it's true, right? The community is growing day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. It's out of control, and there is not a whole lot of support for new upcoming players that are wanting to build their very first deck. Now, there are a ton of ways of getting into it by buying your very first pre-con, but that only fills so much of the gap, right? And as far as the gap of you, right, what you want to play with. Pre-cons are very, very basic. They're very minimal as far as what you can do and what you can't do with them, okay? And I'm not saying that pre-cons are bad. Pre-cons are really good. I've seen some insane, powerful pre-cons. There are some out of the Final Fantasy set that are just out of this world. They're insane, right? So, I've been playing Magic for a very long time. I've been in the game for a very long time. I started off as a collector back in 2009, right? And here we are, 2020, I don't know what year it is. You get the gist, right? I started playing Modern back in the day, and that's all I did for a very long time. That's all I did for a very long time, and it took me until 21, 22 is when I started playing Commander, and honestly, I was lost as well. I had no idea what to do. Luckily, I had some people lead me in the right direction, but my problem was that I was a Modern player at heart, and so I took my skill base from a Modern player and took it into a Commander format and got gross and greedy with it. We're not going to go down that road today. So, that's what this video is going to be all about. I hope you guys like the video and you hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button and do all of that kind of fun stuff and show this channel some love and support, because there's tons of more videos that are going to be coming onto this channel very, very soon. And so I would love to see some of you guys' comments on maybe I miss a step, right? Maybe I do. And so if you guys think of anything that, or see something that I miss, please drop a comment down below, and we'll discuss that as a community. That's what we're here for. That's what Magic the Gathering is a community first and foremost, right? So let's switch the camera around and let's start building the deck, right? Let's hit it. Alright guys, as you can see in the little square that you see behind me, this is where I go to build a commander deck, right? There are some other options I have heard. I've not looked into those other options and how to build a commander deck, but honestly, this has been this website, EDH Rec, has been the best, easiest, all around, good way of building a commander deck, right? And it's very user friendly, I think, anyway. And maybe just because I've used it so much, who knows, right? So, the first thing that I suggest for any new player to get into, or to do, I should say, is set a budget. That's the number one thing you should be doing. And you don't have to do it, but I suggest doing it. And it's gonna change some things later down the road for you, as in building a deck. First off, you can always go back through your first deck and rework it. There's endless cards out there that you can rework it to make it worse, to make it not so worse. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So, excuse me. The best thing that I suggest any player start doing is setting themselves a budget right now. Okay, now where does that budget lie? Well, it's not $1,000. I can tell you that right now. Your budget does not need to be $1,000 to blow on colorful cardboard. As a new player, I'm sure what you're thinking is, I don't know if this is really what I want to spend my money on. I don't know if I want to do this. It's a little confusing still. I'm learning a few things, all that, and that's fine. Any player that tells you that they have never crossed that path is lying. Okay? If anyone tells you that they've never had that issue, they're lying. Okay? There's no way that they didn't. Okay? And we all do it. Okay? We all do it. The biggest thing is to set a budget. And I suggest anywhere from $200 to $300 will build you a really good deck. Okay, it'll build you a really good deck, and it honestly depends on how many colors you add. If it's a mono color deck or if it's a 2-color deck, I don't suggest going any higher than a 2-color deck as far as your first deck that you build. There's a lot of things that you can misinterpret, things that you can go wrong, all of that, right? And then it starts getting really expensive, maybe, possibly. The next step after setting a budget is finding yourself a commander. Now, there's tons of commanders out there, and a lot of it depends on what you're looking for, what your play style is, who you're playing with. It's really hard to pick a commander for someone that's never played before, and this is where you have to come in and start thinking of, okay, what am I building? What do I like? What do I don't like? What am I seeing on the table that other people are playing that I like? What colors do I like? All that. When I started playing Commander back in 21, 22, so around there, in reality, I was looking to sell all my cards. Binders, bulk, all of it. I was looking to sell all of it. And I didn't want to play Magic whatsoever. I didn't care, right? I had no intent of getting back into it. I got burnt out a long time ago, and I quit, right? So when I went to go sell my stuff, first there were two things that happened when I went to go sell everything. First, I met a good friend, and second, I started playing Commander. Those are literally the two things that happened that same day when I went to go sell everything. I didn't even sell anything. I didn't sell a single thing. I sold nothing. He bought nothing from me. Instead, he showed me this. Hope you guys can see that. He showed me that, okay? If the camera will pick that up, maybe. That is Scarab God, the Scarab God. Okay, I wish the camera would quit being a pain. It might be lighting, I don't know. We're still working on some things. But he showed me the Scarab God, okay? And I picked up him extra fast, okay? What I love about the Scarab God is that it is totally up my alley of oppression, of steamroll, of just being a nuisance on the table. I really wish you guys could see that. That kind of disappoints me. The Scarab, he showed me that, and my first thoughts were, I'm gonna build this to keep this guy quiet, and maybe I'll get a friend out of it anyway. That was really honestly my first reactions to this, is that I really didn't want to build it. I had no inquiry of building this. I went and built it, I went and played it, and 14, 15 decks later, a few years later, here we are, still playing paperback Magic, man. It's sometimes how it goes. It's sometimes how it goes. So, finding the right commander is the number one thing, okay? Finding a commander that suits your playstyle is number one thing. Now, in EDH Rec, they have this wonderful little drop down here that gives you everything. Okay, so your top commanders, you can find all your top commanders here. There's, the higher you get, the higher the salt gets, the higher the spice, right? Dragon, Edgar Markov, Atraxa, really good commanders. unfortunately, I don't suggest those being a beginner player commander. I suggest moving closer to your monocolors and your two colors. Now, this is where you still stumble, right? You see all these little, you see white, blue, black, red, green, right? And colorless, okay? And you're like, okay, now what? This is where you got to decide on what kind of player that you want to be, okay? This is like, it's figure out the kind of person that you are, right? Me personally, I'm a blue player. I'm a blue player at heart. I have a lot of decks that are mono blue, that have a lot of blue in them. I like saying no to anything and everything, okay? And giggling to myself while I do it. I am that player. I love playing blue. And so that is my struggle. It's totally my struggle. There are a lot of different awesome commanders mixed in with every single color between monocolor and dual color commanders. There's awesome commanders out there that I still haven't gotten to build yet. I got like 2 or 3 commanders still sitting on the back burner waiting to be built, like literally. And just letting you know, that is a thing. That is totally a thing. When you start buying Magic, you start building decks, and then all this bulk starts rolling in. You start buying all these cards, all these decks, start stripping pre-cons apart. You become, it's ugly what a Magic player turns into. Black, I have built some of the most nastiest budget decks with black I've ever built. I built, let's see, where is it? It's Shieldred, just the regular Shieldred. Let me find it. Again, they have so many, there's so many commanders out there, and this is just not black commanders. This is, there's white commanders there, there's so many commanders here. Well, I don't know where she's at. Let's do this. Hold on one sec. Right there. Just the plain Jane Shieldred, right? She's a dual-sided, okay? I built this. Some of my friends, the same friend that got me into playing Commander, we went and our group got together and did a budget build, right? It was like a $40, $50, $60 budget, and that was it. And it was monocolor only, and we all drew cards. I drew the swamp, right? Your black island, okay? And I chose Shieldred as my budget commander, and it was the most disgusting thing. I beat myself up all the time for destroying that. I should have never gotten rid of it. I should have kept it and added some money to it, or maybe not, because I only spent $40 on it. That's it. I only spent $40 on it, and I used the mill theme. So, okay, so say you go and build, you go and choose your commander. This is what it's going to come up with, okay? This is how it's going to look, all that. So, as you pick a card. To make a commander, it has to be a legendary creature, okay? Or there are certain planeswalkers out there that also can be commanders, but those specifically say in the text box down below there. They have to say that, okay? When you build your first commander, you click on that in EDH Rec, and it's gonna bring up this. Now, this looks alarming, right? It's like, okay, I chose my commander. Now what do I do, right? So now the joys of EDH Rec is that it really pinpoints you in the direction that you really want to take it. They have a budget tab here where you click on that. If it will, there we go. You click on that and it will totally give you the more cheaper cards, but still good cards to play with. It's not going to give you garbage cards. It's going to give you good cards no matter what, I promise. When you go and click on that, then you start picking your theme. This is right here is what your themes are, okay? This is, or tags as you can call them, okay? Different themes, different tags. there's so many here, and it gets really alarming for a new player, and I understand that. Don't freak out, okay? So when I build a commander, I go off of what its text box says. I go off of what the commander asks for. Okay, with Scarab God, it asks for zombies. Here, I'll show you. I'll give you a better picture of Scarab God. Give me 1 second here. It's not gonna be very hard because he's up top still. There you go. So there you go. Go ahead and read that. At the beginning of each, let's see, of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. So that tells you that zombies are the key here. Zombies specifically are the key here. Now, you can go and build zombie tribal. I went and built zombie token instead. Now, zombie tokens are not a creature. They're a creature, but they're not a permanent creature, if that makes sense. They're a sub creature, okay? So when I built the Scarab God, that was what I had in mind, and I went crazy on him. Okay, he's gone through many different designs and flows and all that, right? He's changed a lot throughout many years. Since 2021, he's changed like 9 or 10 times, but the theme has always been tokens. He's always stayed tokens. So when you go and build your very first commander, what you want is to find what the commander wants, okay? I personally have a difficulty building commanders around something that really doesn't tell me what it wants. And when a commander is more of a background creature, I really have an issue with that because I don't know how to build the rest of the 99. I have no idea how to do any of that, right? I don't know what to do there. So that is probably my biggest thing when I build commander decks, is that I find the theme. I find what the commander is looking for, and I give it what it wants. If it wants zombies, we're gonna add zombies. If it wants zombie tokens, I'm gonna give it a ton of zombie tokens, and that's how I run it. And it's my Scarab God is dangerous because of it. People don't like him, but that is the number one thing with building your first pre-con, is finding the theme, finding how you want to build it. Once you do that, so let's say we click on Scarab God. Let's use Scarab God as an example. That was my very first, so it may be your very first too. You won't be disappointed, I promise. You click on budget and you click on tokens. Okay. Now down here, this is where it gets wild. Okay. So luckily, EDH Rec has got a chart, right? So it gives you a sub era, a way of building the deck and being usable. You have to stay in that 99 cards, or in the 100 cards if you're counting the commander, in that realm, right? You have you can't go above it and you can't be below it. Okay, 100 cards, including the commander, total. EDH Rec gives you the pie chart. It's a wonderful little pie chart that helps you build out a deck and creates a structure for you to plan your deck accordingly and wisely. Okay, so as you scroll down here, it's going to show you your new cards. Now these are new cards from new sets. I think it goes all the way, I think a month, 2 months, 3 months back. I think that's how much they keep that updated, and then they change it out again. I'm not for sure. I really don't pay attention to that part. But scrolling on down, as you can see, as that title says, it says high synergy cards. Now these cards are are the cards that will speak with that commander and work with that commander the best way possible. So as you can see, they're all zombies, a couple of sorceries, enchantments, all that. But high synergy means that it's its highest point of working with your commander. As you can see, 87%, 83%, 80%, 73%, all that. That's what you want. The higher the number, the better off it will communicate with your commander. Now that's not every card, okay? EDH Rec, little fun fact, does not have every single card in here, right? There are a ton of cards that are never spoken of, and we're not going to get into diving deep into all that, But just beware that you're going to go through this list, pick out your list, go play it for a month, maybe 2, and then see another card in, say, your local card shop, playing with some friends. You go start digging through their bulk, and you see this card that really may work great with this, and wasn't on this list. Remember that. That happens all the time. This is just a base of where you can take it and what needs to be added and how it is going to play, right? This is just a very base fundamentals on how, on how to build, say, the Scarab God, okay? As you scroll further down, it's got your top cards. Now, these are still high synergy cards, but a lot of this is the most popular cards that people have used with this commander or with the same theme, right? Your tags, zombie tokens is what we're using, for instance. This here, me personally, when I go and I build my first deck, when I go and build a deck, I look at the pie chart there, and I start clicking, right? So there on EDHREC, you have a little plus sign. You click that, okay? And I select all the high synergy cards and all the top cards, though immediately. I don't care what it is. If EDHREC says so, I do so. Okay, that's how I do that. A lot of people do it differently, but this is how I do it. Again, comment down in the comment section and tell me if I'm doing it wrong. Bite me. So, you scroll further down, you get your top cards, and I select all those as well. I select every single one. If it's a zombie, it's going in. If it has something to do with a zombie, it's going in. If it's adding tokens, it's definitely going in. That's the theme. That's the tags that we selected. That's how we're doing it. Next up is game changers. Now, this list looks different with every commander, with every color, with all that. Game changers, oh man. So, game changers are a piece that I don't want to get into that. I don't want to. But a game changer card is a card that works very well with that color. Not necessarily the commander, but with that color. Okay? It's popular cards that are used a lot, that they use, the EDHREC and Wizards of the Coast use statistics to form a game changer. Okay? Bullet Citadel is a really good card. It's a very good card, and it's ridiculous for being only $8, right? And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. That's a really good card for only being $8. Me personally, if I was building my very first commander deck, and I chose Scarab God, and went down the token section, budget, all that, that's actually kind of wild that is on a budget side. That's kind of wild. I wasn't even expecting to see game changers at all on the budget tab being selected, but I digress. I would have chose that. I would have selected. I would have selected the game changer. I would have totally selected Bullet Citadel for this, and the reason for it is that game changers spice up a deck. They change the flow. Okay, and I hate being part of any statistic out there, but with Magic the Gathering, you can't almost dodge it. It's hard to. You can, but it's hard to. Okay. The Bullet Citadel, I would have added this into my deck if I was building this as my first ever precon, right? I would have chosen this. I would have said, yep, that's what I'm going to buy. That's going to go in the deck list. Period. End of story. I don't know if buying a game changer card for your first commander deck is the right step. I don't know. As someone that is trying to show you on how to build your first commander deck, I don't know if that would be the right call. I would say read the card, check it out, and if that fits your style, if that fits your fancy, select it, move on. Okay? Game changer cards are a big deal, and the game changer card list is evolving and growing as fast as the community is. And what's happening is that people are playing these cards more. They're taking data, finding out that a lot of people are playing these cards. They're using these cards for X, Y, and Z, and there's commanders out there that are game changers as well. Not a whole lot, but a few, enough to turn heads. Okay, I own a couple of them. I have some built. The Bullet Citadel is a great card. It's a wonderful card. It's actually one of my favorite black cards out there. Not even kidding. Bullet Citadel is a wonderful card. I understand why this is a game changer. So, don't be alarmed when you see the little orange tag that says GC. That is a game changer card. That means it is a kind of a higher popular card because of the growing population of this game. People are using it more. People are being witnessed to be using it more. This is not a video on game changers. There will be a video out there about that, but this is not one of those videos that we're going to talk about game changers. So we're going to move on, but if you guys want to see that video, leave a comment down below and we'll go over game changers. I have no problem going over game changers. There's a ton of different game changers out there that are just gross. Salt. Okay? Moving on, after the game changers, you have the creatures. Now, remember, you have a chart, a pie chart. He can't speak, I guess. A pie chart. Okay? So, if, say, you go and you select all these, here, that's empty. So here, I'll follow along. So what we're going to do is we're going to select every single one of these. All the high synergy cards, all the top cards, and get all those selected. I know what all these cards are. I know what all these cards do. That is a Planeswalker, just for you newbies, okay? Just forewarning you, okay? And I'll explain a Planeswalker here in just a few minutes. But what we're going to do is we're going to select all the high synergy cards, all the top cards, and because I'm a degenerate, I'm gonna pick the game changer. Okay. When you go back up here, you have your pie chart. Now it says here I have 29 creatures. This little clipboard thing here is a wonderful little tool, and we'll get into this section over here in a little while. But if you see, it says 13 creatures. Now don't forget, add your commander, but don't count your commander part of that number. What you want, so it says 29 here, what you want is 30 creatures here, because you're counting the commander, right? The Scarab God, you're counting that. So when you go and you put that in there, you go down, okay, so we're only at what, 13, 14 creatures? 13 creatures, technically. Go down and you start selecting creatures, okay? Boom, 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 boom. Until you get to 29. Now, don't look at the art. I know the art is beautiful. It's great. Wizards of the Coast does really good with the art every time. They do really well, especially black cards. Black and blue, they knock it out of the ballpark, I'm telling you. They really do. So, when you go and start picking out creatures, start reading text boxes. Follow the theme, follow the tokens, or whatever your theme is. Doesn't have to be tokens, but follow the theme, right? This, okay? Follow that. And figure out which creatures fall in that category, right? That are, and make sure it's a zombie. Make sure it's a zombie, because Scarab God's going to trigger off that. If you don't remember, go read Scarab God again. And it's going to trigger off of the zombie no matter what, right? But having more zombies equals more benefits, right? So, say you go and you add all your creatures, you move down to your instances. Now, instances happen at instant speed. They happen on anyone's turn as long as you have the mana, the land to pay for it, and the correct colors to pay for it, okay? So, instances, you have 9 of them, okay? You can add 9 there, and you have, what, 1 there? So, you add 8 more. You go down to instances, you hit the little tab, and you start adding your instances into your deck list, okay? Counterspell, there's a reason why it has a little red tag up there that says hot. I suggest clicking on that. There are a lot of cards in here, and the list is totally growing, but there are a lot of cards out there that have that little hot tag. Pay attention to that. That might be a that might be a game changer right there. It just because it doesn't say game changer doesn't mean it won't help you in the long run, right? A hot card normally means it's going to help you at some point somewhere, right? As you go on and build out your deck list, say you have this whole pie chart up here filled out, okay? Your planeswalkers, your enchantments, your artifacts, instances, sorceries. I wouldn't worry about your lands, and the reason for that, I wouldn't add your lands here. And I'm going to show you why, okay? There's a little, you go back up to the little clipboard thing here, and you see all this, okay? Card Kingdom, TCG, Mana Pool, TCG Land, Star City Games, Card Hoarder, that one doesn't look like that's available yet. These are LGS's, or yeah, these are online sites that you can buy cards off of, okay? There's a little export button. As you can see, there are 3 there. There's an Architect, Moxfield, and a clipboard. Don't worry about the clipboard, but go to Architect. Click on that. And it's going to take you to this. Now you create a new deck. That is a new deck that you're creating. You click on Create a New Deck. You put in the deck name, like the Scarab God Commander. Your folders are not going to look like this. This is mine. But it's gonna look, once you hit create deck, it's gonna look like, where's the Scarab God? Don't mind all those. Yes, I know. For the people that know Magic the Gathering, you're gonna see all this and be like, what's that? We're not going over that. The Scarab God, okay? You're gonna have it look like this. Now, if you want to use this deck list, go right ahead. Just fair warning you right now, you're not gonna have any friends after you build this and play it once or twice. It's pretty bad. Also, beware of that right there, okay? Your salt sum, everything. Now this is not no flex, that's not what any of this is, okay? So, when you get into Architect, your deck is gonna pop up like this. Back to the lands part. When you go back to here, okay, and let's go back to the top, go back to your pie chart, it's gonna say 37 lands, okay? You go here, and up here you can type in, say, a island is land, okay? Oop, if I can type, is land, okay? Click on that. Now, obviously I'm gonna get an error, but it's gonna give you an island, okay? And then, wherever it went to, there it is. It's gonna give you an island, okay? You go and press the little plus button, and what you're following is you follow this down here, your deck stats, your cost, over your production, okay? You try and balance it out the best you can, but without cutting anything. You don't want to cut yourself too short on blue or black mana pool, okay? You don't want to cut yourself too short on that. That's not good, okay? Another thing you watch is down here on these two, right? This is just for black and blue. It's not gonna show, you know, if you're running 5 color, all these boxes are gonna be lit up, right? On here, you try and balance it out with your lands the best that you can to, you know, to keep the deck from having a stale turn, right? A very boring turn. You'd be lucky to play a land, you know. So that is something to always watch, to always keep up with. Architect is an awesome website that I suggest anyone using. And no, I'm not sponsored by Architect. I'm not sponsored by EDH Rec either. They're just really good websites that I've been using since forever, right? They do really, really well. They always have, and they keep up with the newest prints, or at least Architect does. They keep up with the newest prints, newest card prices. You can change it to just seeing TCG prices, right? You can change it to just see Card Kingdom prices, back and forth, whichever you want. There's other ones, Star City, Mana Pool, the ones that we just saw in EDH Rec. Building, remove that land real fast before it keeps yelling at me. So, building your first commander deck, I know is tricky, okay? Building your first commander deck is totally, it's very overwhelming, and I totally understand that. There's a bunch of pretty cardboard that looks awesome. You have no idea what it does, and I hope that people have help. out there. I hope that this video helps out someone also. Just one person, that's all I'm asking for. With that being said, the Magic the Gathering community is growing. They are getting bigger. It's growing so fast. Like I said, it's growing every minute, every hour, every day. It's growing tremendously quick. Building your first commander deck is such a flex on the rest of your friends or on the rest of the table. Building your own deck, I don't own a single precon anymore. I've gotten rid of all my precons and stripped them all down. None of them exist. All 15, 16, 17 decks, I don't know at this rate. None of those are precons. Not a single one of those are precons. I don't run a precon anymore. I haven't used a precon in 2-3 years. When you start getting out of that whole precon world and start building on to a more, building your own deck, it becomes a whole new ball game, right? Things start clicking in your head, figuring out how combo pieces work. In EDH Trek, if you didn't see, there is a combo piece tab. Now you can click that, and it's going to give you 3. Okay, but you can go to this, and it's going to give you every combo piece, and it'll explain what it does. It'll tell you exactly what it does and every card that you need to make that combo piece happen. And don't be a combo degenerate, but if you are, there's a community out there that appreciates you and loves you all the same. Okay, so on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.